In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Franklin Township Environmental Commission was made by posting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, posted on the township website, and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers indicating that this meeting would take place here in the conference room of the municipal building at 7 p.m. Okay. We do roll call. Here. Yes, Work is here. You know he's the top of the list.
Everybody here.
With an A. Ted Chase here. Easy's not here. Yes. Stan is here. Ronald's not here yet. Robin is here. Maria is here. I'm here. Tyler's here. And Potosnik is not here. Okay, that does the roll call.
Yeah.
I have a report with me. Report? Okay. This will be a little different. On June 28th, I presented an overview of our goals and activities for the Franklin Township Human Rights Council at the invitation of Gary Rosenthal, who is their chair. The discussion centered on our diverse membership, goals and activities, and the talent of our membership. One topic brought up was our sponsorship of the two community gardens. John Tibbs is a member of the council, and he was instrumental in certainly the one by Nathan Smith Park. John Tibbs is a member of the council and was instrumental in getting our first garden going. Several members asked if we could consider getting a third community garden going, perhaps in conjunction with the Board of Education, using Pine Brook School as a model, hopefully toward the northern end of the township. Subsequent to that meeting, I was informed by Alice Cricott, who is the president of the Canal Walk HOA, that the Somerset County was interested in putting together a community garden on county property adjacent to Colonial Park on Metlands Road. The county commissioner, Paul Drake, and I had a detailed conversation. The county is interested in working with us to help this project. The location near all four active adult communities was a plus. Commissioner Drake is a community gardener at Duke Farms, a facility in Hillsborough. Been there for 12 years. He intends to follow all of the sustainable farming practices followed by Duke. Fencing, water, and everything else will be borne by the county. They'll supply water, fencing, and what we discussed was whether it be raised beds or...
They're going to bring in a water line, or they're going to bring
Yeah, I think they're going to bring a water line. Yeah, because it's adjacent to the park, and I think there's some restroom, there's some water lines there.
Very nice.
And it's also near the charter school that's up there. So they have property that they're not doing anything with. So we're going to follow up on this, and
nice.
I'll keep in touch with him, and maybe I get a hold of Johnny Tibbs, because they're going to look for somebody to manage it.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny, whether he's still active in Naaman Smith, I'm not sure, but he knows all the ins and outs.
Last I knew, he was the person in charge.
That's what I thought, yeah.
But it's been a couple of years since I
Right.
spoke with him about that, because
Good, you can do that.
I'm trying to remember what her name was.
Wasn't John Klein involved in it too? Or John, there was somebody that was on the commission that was involved. It was
John Walker.
John Walker. Oh, okay, yeah. He was the one that had the gas wells. That's it.
Yeah, he had a lot to do with getting it started.
He did.
And that's
Yeah.
a dozen years ago.
Sure.
And,
Yeah, I remember that when I was,
yeah.
yeah.
And then, of course, there's the one at Pine Grove School, which
Yes.
really was started by a teacher there.
Yes.
And then she moved on.
Pine Grove, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought so. I did it well.
And I should mention that we also have space for a community garden at Catalpa Park. I'm thinking of going to council tomorrow and asking them whether Catalpa Park is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Good question.
Or is the DEP planting wood turtle to keep it from
But this tomato was good.
Yeah, I couldn't have gotten everything down.
No, so that's why I did do that. So it's something that's a new development which could be very interesting. And the thought is that the senior citizens might appreciate raised beds instead of on the floor. It's just, and they're doing for ADA anyway.
And they drain better.
They drain better. So if they have a bad expense and we can be part of it, I think that's.
We're talking about this season or next?
Probably 2024. Yeah, now it's too late.
Yeah, I know.
You're right, but no, they're planning ahead, and they've talked about it with it turns out that the president of the HOA, she has a plot right next to Paul Drake's, so that's how all the information got shared. But then he gave me she gave me the phone number, we talked for a while. So, that takes care of that. Approval of the June 26 minutes.
I wasn't
So
there,
moved.
so I can't.
Any changes or modifications? Okay, motion to accept, oh, you did that already? Then
Second.
Motion to accept, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, take care of minutes. Public comment. Motion
So
to...
move to, open the meeting to the public. Get a second.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On the public. Yes. So, you have that in the back?
Yeah, nothing.
Did you sign in and put your...
No.
Yeah.
I signed it, it's the first time here.
Oh,
It's
that's
okay, you can sign it afterwards,
Yes,
if that's
yes,
easier, you don't have to
just-
do it right now.
But just bring it on and wait for...
My name's John Kawartek, 280 Bunker Hill Road, 280 Bunker Hill Road.
Okay.
Just
That goes in the minutes.
And Marie.
Never...
We're just here because we want to talk about these burn pits that are going on. It seems like more and more people are going to these burn pits. And the problem is the smoke comes into our house. And, you can, this day and age, you have all kinds of regulations. You have idling, you can't idle your car for more than a minute or two. You can't smoke cigarettes inside a building. Well, when somebody has a burn pit next to you, the smoke comes in your house, you can't escape it. And I have COPD, she has asthma, and it's a major problem. And, in some parts of the town, you got a big area where you have, it's no problem, and the area dissipates, and, but we're right on top of each other, like 35 feet away from this fire, that this one neighbor has.
And the thing is, the town permits fire pits, but they have no regulation other than you can't burn garbage, but they have no way of enforcing
You can't
that.
enforce it, yeah, they burn yard refuse, it's green, it's wet, it smokes, it it permeates your home, it just permeates your life. And, you just have nothing to do with it. The only reason we've talked to the person says, well, I'm allowed to do it, so, buzz off, they want to hear it. And there's no reason, I think breathing air is more important than, having somebody who enjoys watching a fire burn in their backyard when they're not there all the time. They go in the house, come back out, they take off, go shopping, come back, the fire's still going, and it's happening, and it's getting more and more. It seems like people are, catching on to it. I guess, when I was young, we weren't allowed to have fires. Things have changed, I guess, as you get older. I don't know. They're supposed to get a little more stringent, I would think, but New Jersey's got a law for everything. Not a law for this. There's no regulations. You can burn 24/7. Some towns, if the smoke goes in the neighbor's house, or the neighbor complains, they're not allowed to do it. That's what I'm just asking if there's something that anybody can, recommend that we can do. It's a matter of life and death in some regards too. I don't want to come down with lung cancer someday with this because it's something I can easily avoid by not breathing. I work at ground zero. I don't want to, I eat a lot of stuff over there for 3 months. I don't want to come to my house and breathe it again. So I don't think it's too much to ask. Just fresh air. The human body, you can go 30 days without food. You can go 5 days without water. You can't go a minute without air. Air is underrated. It's me. I was a commercial diver for 35 years. I know what it's like to be starved for air, and I don't like to do it. So, air is, you gotta have it. You gotta have clean air. And when the smoke starts, it's just like, it's a cumulative effect after a while. It gives you a headache, you're nauseous. You gotta leave your house to get fresh air. I think it's kind of ridiculous in this day and age. And if somebody walked through a building with a cigarette, everybody would throw them out of here so fast, and that goes without saying. But yet, and you have these Canadian fires, the fires that came down, the smoke from the Canadian fires. Everybody agrees the air is terrible from that smoke. You could see in the air, and it's like how many miles away? What if you live next to that thing? I can't imagine. You gotta have some kind of severe health consequences.
I think that we're going to be able to pass this on to
Yeah, can I just ask one question as a
Sure.
clarification? So the fires they're talking about are like people that are like building fires in their backyard, like to do s'mores and things like that? Okay, got
Fire
it.
pits.
Yeah.
Okay,
Got a little pan.
Got it,
and
okay.
The fire sometimes is big. and
Got it,
pans like-
okay.
The pan's like this big, maybe.
Yeah.
We
Maybe
went to a
rocks.
council meeting and they seemed receptive, but
The town
that's.
said they were gonna pass some kind of thing and they never did. So they didn't tell us what they were gonna do. They were gonna bring it up.
So if you folks could do something, we would be
Just,
appreciative.
recommend, I mean,
Yeah, I
I can't live in the house. If I could live in the house, I would.
Is
you
this
know?
person an agricultural use?
No.
Oh, no, not like that's a homeowner. But the homes are, they're close, right
Yeah.
to each other there. The homes are very close. So like I said, we're about 30.
Let us review the ordinance to see exactly what the regulations are, and then maybe we can make some strategic recommended amendments to the ordinance, maybe about how far the distance has to be from a neighboring property or things like that. And we can definitely recommend that. So let me look at what's on the books, and then we'll definitely, I can put on the agenda, Paul, if you want, for the next meeting.
Also, one more thing. You can't let your car idle for more than a minute or 2 minutes. 3 minutes, okay. 3 minutes. But one car idling can't pollute the neighborhood. One burn pit, smoking, can pollute the whole neighborhood. I mean, it's a lot. I don't mind if my neighbor runs her car all day. I wouldn't care about that. But the smoke is horrendous. I mean, literally horrible.
I think this help both of you.
Yes, I'm going to address the same subject.
Oh, good.
I live on Lake Avenue, and it's not only the fire pits, but it's what they're burning in their
Yes.
fireplaces. And honestly, I have a problem the same. I can't breathe at night
We don't
sometimes.
know these folks.
This is what I'm getting.
We're gonna get your name and your address.
I'm Carol Peterson. I think Mr. Chase should know me. I've been to council a lot in the past. And what we have in our house are 2 air quality monitors,
Yeah.
which yours was very, very low, and then rose high as people came in, and then as they sat down, they stabilized. I also have 2 of these. These are things you pick up the noise from trucks. And it's not that I'm talking about 7-Eleven anymore, because that's gone very good since they put in a noise ordinance recently. It's my neighbors who are parking their trucks. They live at 10 Lake. I got balled out this morning for reporting them, which all I reported them to the health department was because of the smoke. And they're burning whatever they're taking out of a house from 1935. And it burns your eyes, it burns your skin. My neighbor who lives at Fort Hill also is complaining, and he's threatened to take me to court if I continue. But anybody who wishes to, drive by the house and see what a junk pile it's become. And this is what I clean off about every 2 to 3 days from between the screens and my windows, and some of it seeps into the bedroom. And I don't open the windows, they're closed tight. I have a monitor that goes off in the middle of the night when the smoke is too bad. And I think it's time, like all this literature I have from New Jersey and other states, it's time to ban the burn. And with humidity and with heat, I have a problem why people need to sit around a little fire pit or burn in their fireplace. And it says clearly in all this literature, you shall not burn anything but approved wood, which means anything that's been treated with anything is dangerous to your health, my health, everybody's health, and especially the kids who live in our area now, and we have a lot of little tiny tykes.
How did the health department respond?
Pardon?
How did the health department
The
respond?
health department so much as told me to take pictures, bring evidence, and I'm doing the best I can.
But you're bringing the evidence to them?
And I did.
I
Okay.
spoke to the health department, and they claimed it's a town issue, that if it's a single-family home, they have nothing to do
They
with
have
it.
nothing to do with it now.
Yeah, I've spoken to them, to Somerset County, to the fire chief, to the the forestry service, and they all referred back to the town. They said, you gotta talk.
They referred to the
Nothing to do
council.
with them.
Mrs. Peterson, are you talking about a fire pit, or are you talking about a
I'm
fire
talking
plate?
about both. I have a fire pit behind me now. I have a fire pit next door, and they're using their grill. They don't cook with propane gas. They're now cooking with wood in a grill. And I thought a couple of times before we had rain, the flames got pretty close to the fir trees and the trees in the front yard. I've almost called the fire department twice in the past, and I told 11 Lake and 15 that I almost called the fire department because they had flames coming up what looked like beside the garage. And the other one had smoke barreling from the backyard because they were burning in a big, anything they could burn, they were burning in a big round tub.
The reason
So I
why
think
they
it's a
burn-
serious problem, and I'm a retired advanced practice nurse. And when it's affecting me, it's affecting other people as well. And honestly, I grew up that they didn't advise you burned in the summertime with humidity. It only makes it worse.
Well, I think we have enough to
think we
do our
have.
homework. Thank you very much for bringing all this to our
And I don't know
attention.
what other kind of evidence to bring, other than I have pictures of this in the middle of the
Well,
night.
unfortunately, we are not an enforcement authority, but we can help affect changing the regulations.
I was going to say, since you're the environmental commission and you want a green environment,
This is environment.
Yeah, but we have no authority to enforce
No, we
anything.
understand.
So, but thank you very much for.
and the other thing is, we had beautiful 10-year-old fir trees. Do you know how many we have left after 7-Eleven opened with all the idling? One. We had to cut them all down, they died. And they did not have insects, so they had to die from the heat and the fumes, and God only knows what was going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
If I can get more evidence somehow, I will try to figure out how I can do it.
Well, we're not living in the dark ages. We had to have a fire going 24/7 for soup, you know?
Right.
It's this day and age, it shouldn't happen.
I just think if the town permits fire pits, they need some sort of nuisance law to get these people to comply.
Just some kind of control, you know, there has to be a regulation. Smoke coming into your house, it's so bizarre, it shouldn't happen. You know, but I'm just, you know, I know you have no authority, but we're just trying to
Well,
work.
we do have a public advocate, like, for
Well, I'll be going to the township meeting tomorrow night and bringing up the same thing, and I'll take as much evidence as I can.
Thank you very much for your...
You're welcome.
Anybody else have some comments they want to make in the public? Good? No. Okay. Did you have a question? No. Okay.
No more opposing to it.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Yeah, it turns out for the first time in a long time, we have no plans to review. I do have one letter. One letter we're not going to read. Somehow we got the financial bank account for the township. But there was a letter from Dynamic Engineering regarding the B9 warehouse on Metworth and Schoolhouse. And it's a request for treatment works approval for the above project for design, construction of sanitary sewer conveyance facilities, which once that, if and when the warehouse is approved, they're going to need this to operate. So they've applied to the DEP for a permit. And that's the correspondence. Since Jessica's not here, there's nobody knows if we got any emails. So she monitored that for us.
Oh, one email we did get is from Anjac.
Oh, yes.
And they had requested some information about our Adopt-A-Drain program, so I responded back to them. The one thing they would like is a picture of someone cleaning the drain, the Adopt-A-Drain, because they want to feature Franklin in their newsletter. I don't have any pictures of people. I have stock photos, but I don't have, has anyone taken a picture or would be willing to take a picture of themselves cleaning their drain?
Dan's our man with the
You have
camera.
it, Stan?
I need someone to take a photo of me because now my family is in Europe already.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
leaving to Europe in 2 days. I'm not sure, but it's a good reminder that I need to clean the drain. Speaking of this program, I actually forgot to mention when I was at the Sustainability Summit in Homedale, I had a conversation with a person who is coming from town who had also this program, and I'm mentioning the issue of the public works kind of colliding with the schedule. The suggestion was that the schedule for the public works cleaning the street is made somewhat public, at least to those people who has adopted drains, so they can clean in between.
Oh, that's smart,
Right?
yeah.
So that, as opposed to trying to coordinate, just, give us the information when they have the schedule, and we can clean it beforehand or in between.
Put it on the website. Make it
Yeah,
available to
yes,
the public.
yes.
What was the deadline that she said when they're gonna do it? When that newsletter's gonna go out?
Oh, so the picture, she would like a picture by tomorrow.
Oh.
If anyone, I figured, does anyone have one already?
Well, I'm getting set up at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow.
I know, that's what I said. I said, I don't think many people have taken photographs of,
No,
it's not something you're right, normally someone would photograph, so.
well, just give it to her.
It requires two people, one to clean the drain, and one to take the
Right,
picture.
Right.
and like Paul said, she just asked for it today, so I have stock photos, but that's
Give
all I
them stock.
Yeah, okay.
I can't do it by tomorrow. I think I
Yeah.
can do
We're
it.
getting picked up tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning. We're going out to Mount Rushmore and the Tetons in Wyoming.
Nice, really
We're gonna be
nice.
crazy for a couple of days.
It's pretty spectacular up there right now. It's
Yeah,
very
we're
lush
good.
and green, unusual.
So that takes care of the correspondence. There are no site plans. Did you see anything on the website that looks like we should be looking at?
I did not.
I kept coming and there was nothing, except for the letter. There's been nothing for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
in the mailbox.
well, it's slow right now.
Yeah, that's what, okay. So, that's all we're up to new business, which is the community energy plan.
Okay, I put this on because I figured, it looked like the agenda at the time was a little bit light, so I figured this would be a good time to kind of do some work on this.
Okay.
So for our community energy plan, now that the local health assessment is kind of wrapping up, we want to start working on this. So just to kind of back up, what it is we have a grant from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to complete a community energy plan. The good news is that Sustainable Jersey has put together this guide that I'm showing you, and it really is kind of like a step-by-step, put this here, write this here, this is the kind of stuff we need. So, let me keep going through. So basically, they even say here, like, there's an executive summary, and it explains, you should be putting the executive summary here, and this is some just general information. Introduction, so we're going to address the Clean Energy Act of 2018 and 2050, and we can, Safi and I can kind of work on that and figure out how we fit in there. So here we go. Community energy planning is the process by which communities collaboratively select for implementation local emissions reducing initiatives that fulfill the EMP goals. So there is a template here, which Safi and I have converted it to Excel just because it's easier to work in that, which I'll show you in a second. We can also use this to kind of look at some of the Sustainable Jersey actions that we want to apply for during the next certification cycle. So I think we kind of gone over this before a little bit, but the first thing is that we want to go through this work plan and see what our progress is and what we're planning to address and what we cannot address. And if there's something that we can't address or we just are planning not to address, we have to explain why that reason is. That's part of the process. So in converting everything to an Excel spreadsheet, this is kind of what we're working with now. So I figured I would go through it with all of you guys and see what are your thoughts on it? Where are we at? Is it something we want to address? Is it something we don't want to address? And if so, why?
Would it screw up our timing if you sent this to us and we all were able to take our time looking at it? Have our thoughts?
We could do that for sure. I put it on the agenda only because it looked like it was like a light agenda, so I thought it'd be a good working group. But yeah, I can definitely send it to you.
I'd rather have time to look at, it's not that easy to read it up
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
And then read their introductory material.
Okay, yeah.
And then, because we could print this out at home and make notes on it,
Right,
and then
right.
come back prepared to talk about it.
Yes.
I think the trouble with Excel files is that they have a tendency to get too wide. to
Yes,
read.
they do, yeah, they do.
And I promise I'll put time into it.
Yeah, that's fine with me, for sure. Sappy and I are gonna start working on it because we are gonna have to start getting this done. And also the other reason I wanted to bring it up is because I would like to have it on the agenda as like a working, like a
Yes.
thing we need to work
Standing
on
item.
every meeting.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to,
And this will sensitize us to the kind of things we should be thinking about as we live our life in the township.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Because it might take some reflection, the first pass, we might not think of things, but then as you go back your life in time, you go, oh my God, what about that? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
This also is a basis for, as we move toward a project of putting a sustainability element in the master plan, this is part of that. This is
Yes.
like what Princeton has as the clean action plan. The clean, this is,
Well,
this is, it's in the,
It can be, yes.
This is, yeah, so like when we talk about that, that's what I was saying. This is the first
Yeah.
one that has to get done because we're under the deadline and we have a grant for it. It'll help
Sure.
inform that for sure. The other thing they did give us, we don't have to go through it now, they gave us an energy plan template, which is like how the text should look, which is really, because it is really helpful. This is the fictional town of Gotham that they put together. And basically, this is their plan. So it's 43 pages long, they have a list of table of contents and figures, introduction, and then they kind of go through some demographic characteristics of the town, which we already have because of the health assessment. They go through electricity and natural gas usage, which they've sent us the link as to exactly how to get this in
great.
real time. The greenhouse gas emissions, which again, that data they've sent us where we can get that readily available when it's time for that. Municipal operations, which we will get from our electric and gas
Go back
bills.
to that greenhouse gas emissions that we can access. It looks like it's 2020 data.
Well, as of right now, it's probably 2020 is the most recent
Because
data.
I'm thinking, with all the warehouses that have come, we may want to reach out to the people that know, how can we extrapolate what it probably is now?
Yeah, we can make a
Because there's been
projection
such
at
a
least.
change.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was a big topic at the planning board meeting about the B9 warehouse. And that the applicant only considered one of the warehouses in the background to add on to. When that was a 90,000 square foot warehouse. But there were 7 other warehouses. And he claimed it wouldn't change much because the main factor is the square footage of the warehouse. But if the background really gets big, it's going to affect the number.
And we can't just take a straight line projection because of the density, the high propensity of warehouses.
Yeah.
It's going to be a geometric curve. And how do we quantify that is going to be important
Right, Yeah.
for it to be meaningful.
that is true, yeah. Yeah, I think that makes total sense. We could do that. I'm sure we could figure out how to do that,
Well,
for
you know
sure.
people at Blast,
Yeah.
maybe they could help us.
We could do
So
that.
they also advise on how to find out what is the solar production in the town, including residents.
I'm not sure about that. That I have to look into and see. I mean,
Well, that's what we all read it,
Yeah.
we'll look for different
yeah,
things.
we can add that for sure. If it's not in there and we want to add something like that, we absolutely can. The next part of the plan is called the work plan, and see these strategies here, these are the listing of the strategies that are in the Excel spreadsheet. So basically, these are what the town, this isn't our town, this is the fictional town. Apparently, this is out of the strategies, what they agreed to do. Then they go through each strategy, and using that spreadsheet, they put, the project, who was running it, when was the start date, and you put all of that for each strategy that you're either doing or you plan to do.
And we can pick which of these strategies.
Yes.
We don't necessarily do them all.
You wouldn't do them all, but yeah, because that would be a lot, but there's probably there is a lot from doing the spreadsheet. I know that we're kind of already underway anyway, which is great. So then you go through the whole, it's a lot, that's the bulk of the plan, is going through each strategy, and then you come to the end, and it's basically the data sources, the references, and that's it. So it's really not a heavy lift doing this plan, it's really kind of assembling the data and analyzing it, and if there's anything that we want to add in addition to what's required, we can do that.
That's the deadline.
I want to say it's May of 2024.
Okay.
So, yeah, it seems like it's far, but it's not, it's close.
So why don't you send this to us, and why don't we also try to make a stab at how we want to break down the work, and what are our internal deadlines, so we're accountable to each
Yeah,
other.
for sure, yeah.
So are we expected that we will be sourcing the data, or you're just looking for opinion from us? or-
Well, so Sustainable Jersey has really provided, they have a data bank that we can go to. They've also provided us with the links to exactly find out. We also have a lot of the data in our local health assessment. So I can absolutely assemble it and put it together. What I would need from all of you is to go through, we really need to agree on the initiatives and strategies. That's the first thing. And then as I start writing it, I'd like, your opinions and your feedback and figuring out we're missing this. I don't want to take, I don't want this to be in there, anything like that, to kind of really shepherd it home. And I would like to finish it well before May 2024, and that's my goal.
I think one of the data points we're going to have to get from Sustainable Jersey or ANJAC or somebody is, somebody must be developing a CO2 emission per square foot of warehouse.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
sure,
And if
yeah.
we can get that number, and then we look at the number of square feet built
Right.
since 2020, we'll have some meaningful numbers. And somebody must have a standard that they're working on.
I'm sure.
Maybe the Department of Energy, I don't know who would, Department of Transportation.
Rutgers may have some.
I don't think Rutgers does. I spent a lot of time talking to them.
Well, the other one is NJIT.
Well, maybe they do, but it could be a federal number. It doesn't even need to be
Yeah.
New Jersey.
I'll see if I can find out, but really the help that from the Environmental Commission to work on is really the main, the guts of it is figuring out the initiatives and strategies.
And which
where we're
makes
at.
sense for us.
Yes, and then from there, I can start drafting it. To me, this document is like one of the smallest planning documents, so it's easy enough to put together. But I
God bless you.
really, I would really like to get it done way before May. Because it's just I feel like it's just I don't want to say it's easy to do, but it's doable, and I think we can get it done.
Okay.
So, yeah, if we could do that, that would be great. So I'll send everyone the information then, you look it over, and then maybe at the next meeting we can have it on. But the main issue is that, especially as we're moving towards completion of it, we're gonna have to set aside time in our meeting
Yeah.
to really work on
And we
it.
can have a working session. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna have to do that, that's for sure, so.
I think you sent that an Excel spreadsheet, and I think maybe you sent this too.
I sent the grant application, which had the Excel spreadsheet just in a PDF form. Yes, I sent that. But yeah, definitely look it over. I'm gonna send this model plan too, so that you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like. And then,
Number 4 hours on the 20th.
yeah, there you go, you can read it then. And then, yeah, so hopefully we can get this moving.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Terry. That's
Okay, that'd be
wonderful.
good. Now, I noticed the B item is violation of the plastic bag ban. That was, Stan, you want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So this was kind of inspiration from my randomly discovered violation in Flemington in Hunterdon County, in Dutch County Farmers Market, where I was struggling with the Hunterdon County Health Department to remedy. So I decided that I found that we have also Amish market in the town. So I thought, well, I'll just give it a try. So, and I discovered that they have the same issue. So they do have, did I copy everyone on this email?
I saw it. I think you sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
So they have, so the Amish market is on Route 27 in the village called Princeton, in our town.
Kingston.
Kingston?
Kingston.
Okay, but this address came out as a Princeton, but anyway.
Yeah, mailing address is
Princeton.
Yeah, exactly.
For the
Okay,
stage.
yeah. It is a building in the mall, and inside there are several individual stores. And each of them, and they sell different stuff, and each of them they are giving plastic bags. They're bagging it without being prompted, right? So it's like a series of, so to speak, violations, and the plastic bags are conventional disposable white bags that says thank you for your purchase or things like that. You know. So in Flemington, what was interesting, they had green plastic disposable bags that says reusable bag. It's like when you have a pickup truck that says I'm clean vehicle, you know.
Right.
So it's the same with the disposable plastic bag. We just said I'm reusable bag, you know. So so that's $100 for us. It's kind of easier. I reported it to our county health department. The person who got back to me got her name, but she said she will go there the next day, which was on last Thursday. I didn't hear back from her yet, but this is how I envision that it should be. When somebody makes report, they should first go and see what's going on.
Right,
So I think this will be,
verify.
yeah.
Now, this is at let me think. This is at a farmer's market, is that what you said, or these
Yes,
are stores?
It's inside a building, it's the
inside a
Amish
building.
market, but it's inside a building.
Okay, I'm just trying to envision where this is.
Are these specifically bags for vegetables or just bags for everything?
Everything.
You buy a bag of 12 donuts, they put it in a white plastic bag.
Yeah.
It's just like it was before. And when I was purchasing some stuff, and I wanted to grab milk to also add into the purchase, and the cashier in between, she put everything else into the plastic bag. And so I asked them whether they're aware of this plastic bag ban, and the person responded, no, I have no idea.
They all come from Pennsylvania.
Right? Of course, it doesn't matter. They're in New Jersey.
Right, but that's what they'll say.
Yeah. Well, they didn't make that comment that coming from Pennsylvania. They just said they don't know. So I said I have to politely, respectfully reject the bag. So,
Right.
And I told her this is my reusable bag. So.
I also find that I'm being handed plastic straws all the time
Oh, really?
in restaurants, and I ask to speak to the manager, and I tell the manager that I'm on the Franklin Environmental Commission, it's in a restaurant in Franklin, that you're only supposed to hand out plastic straws upon request.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that, and then I go back 3 weeks later and they're still doing it. Tap House 2020, you can tell where I have lunch, they do it repeatedly. Other places as well.
Right, and to this effect, I think it was week or 2 weeks ago, NJAG had a webinar that was focused on the update of the bag ban and the plastic straws, and they admitted that the straw ban is the most violated law.
Oh, I'm sure that is, yeah, I would imagine,
Right.
yeah.
So what Robin is experiencing is not exception, it's routine.
That's, yeah.
Right?
And we have to say something. We have to, when we're the member of the public, because we're so well informed, I really encourage all of you, ask to speak to the manager on duty and say, this is in violation of New Jersey law.
Right, yep.
And then I try to say, save a turtle,
Yeah?
save a bird, don't hand out these straws. If someone asks for them, yes.
Yeah.
But waitresses just reach in their apron and they start throwing down plastic
Yeah.
straws.
But unfortunately, if nobody complains, there is no enforcement.
And even if you don't use it, they just swoop them up and throw them in the garbage when they clear the table.
Right.
So we need to bring it to people's attention, and if the health department, Stan, maybe if you close the loop on the plastic bag ban, ask her, can we bring these straw violations to their attention too? How would they handle
Oh, yeah,
this?
I think that's the department, yeah. They are supposed to handle it.
Well, thank you for doing that for all of us, because if we're not doing it, nobody else in town is doing
It's
it.
a kind of sport, you know.
We go hunting.
Okay, does that take care of the plastic ban? In Park, littering and minor damage to the charging station.
Stand by that.
Oh, you
Yep.
with that.
Right, and I also sent all the kind of about 2 hours ago. Tara, can you project that picture on the screen?
You sent me?
I sent 4. The other
An email with 4 pictures.
The last one, we'll do the last one, because Paul wanted to talk about the
Sorry, I know here.
Yeah, that one. This is dual charging station, and it's supposed to be hanging here, and so when you pull the cord, it keeps the cord above the ground, and this has retractable rope. On this side, it's broken.
Oh, okay.
So it's just lingering on the ground, and if whoever is using it would leave it on the pavement, somebody could run a drag over it and it would be major damage. So the charging station operates both of those nozzles, but the cord is kind of lingering down there.
So that's a DPW thing, I believe, thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody should look into it. I'm not saying that this is vandalism. I'm just saying this is, there's damage and it should be taken care of.
Okay.
Whether it can be fixed, whether it is warrantable, I don't know. We need to just figure it out.
Is that part of the DPW that would be doing that, or?
It is, so we got a grant to put that in, and it really is relatively new, but DPW is the one that, drew up the specifications for it and did like the groundwork for it, so yes, I'm sure DPW can fix it. It sounds like they just need to replace that retractable rope, right?
I don't know exactly what needs to be replaced. I
That's
can
part of the
imagine.
charging, that's not more, it's not really a rope, it's the cable, right?
They're all retractable.
Yes.
Yeah, I can talk to them.
It's possible that ChargePoint would like to upsell and say, oh, we need to replace the entire thing or something more than that, but, this is one of those things that DPW, they have to be careful about
Yeah,
that.
okay.
If they can fix it by themselves without calling someone else,
All right.
it's a mechanical failure.
Yeah,
right?
I'll reach
So,
out to them.
electronic failure.
I will reach out to them and tell them about that. Okay.
Okay, reports from the subcommittee.
Oh, wait, there was something else, that's Dan, right?
We can go to littering. I mean, it's kind of complaint, but at the same time, I would like whether we have some way, what can we propose? I mean, we probably will route to DPW anyway, but if you just hit
The other picture with the plastic bottles on the.
Yeah, the plastic bottles and also.
Yeah, no, it didn't for some reason, but that's okay, I'll go to the first one.
So, it's the same part.
Yeah.
This is next to the basketball field, and even though I didn't see the perps who did it,
The person.
right? So, I think these are kids.
Yeah.
I'll just, make that assumption. You can maybe there is a close-up or.
Oh, you want the next picture?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a lot of
It's
bottles.
beautiful, I know.
You got this one.
This one maybe is a bit from a distance, you can see the basket.
Oh, and there's the garbage can, right?
Of course, yeah.
There's another one next to
No,
it.
the ones that are, right.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yeah, that one, yeah. So, which date was it? It was July 1st. And I went there since then, it was clean, right? So, I think that maybe DPW is cleaning, or because who else would do it without pay?
I also wonder if maybe there's a league and somebody brings a case of water while they're playing. Because it's,
This is a little bit more than case of water, but lots of water bottles.
yeah, but I mean, if you got a team and you bring one of those
Right.
things that you get at Costco with all these water bottles.
Look, there's a bag.
Yeah.
This is the back, but it's
So-
like this, right? That,
I think
and lots of water.
if any of us are in the park area and we see what looks like a coach bringing supplies of water bottles, we can ask them to please think about bringing reusable water bottles or make sure their team polices their area.
Right.
Where is it in the park?
It's off of Leah Lane, off of.
We did a cleanup there back in April.
Okay,
Off JFK, Leah, yeah.
No,
There's the basketball court, baseball.
You didn't, but Maria and I did.
What else is there? Trail.
That was not on Williams.
Yeah, that one
Tennis
really
courts.
support.
Yeah, right off at JFK.
But,
Okay, I'll ask DPW who's cleaning that, just out of
I
curiosity.
suspect there's
and,
some league of guys that are playing and somebody brings water. and-
or how often is it happening, whether it's a burden to their workforce. But, and when we were talking about the general cleanup in spring, I raised a suggestion that maybe we could talk to Board of Ed, and I didn't follow up on that. I think this is another opportunity because, and Board of Ed, they do have their Sustainable Jersey Action Team for schools. I do have some interaction with them through the New Jersey Electric Vehicle Association. By the way, they would benefit if they partner with us on some of the actions, like a green fair.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the green fair they had was not well prepared. I went through lots of green fairs, and this is something that, do we get points if we have green fair?
We do.
Okay, so if we can do it together and get combined forces, more vendors and more audience, they didn't have enough audience.
Yeah.
Although they were unlucky that on that day it was a rain and not every activity.
And it's not a central location. I mean, it's a far piece to get to the high school.
I'm not going to follow up on the green fair, but if you could come up with that. And maybe I can follow up, what do you recommend is the best way reaching out to Board of Ed during the official meetings, or should I contact?
Maria's a good contact for the Board of Ed. Maria's built up relationships there.
And is Connie still a sustainability person? Connie,
I emailed the teacher.
Right.
And I copied you.
Jessica Rifus?
Yes, I copy both of you.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
chairs, but because they're on vacation. I won't hear.
No, we're not
right.
talking about the tree grant, we're talking just in general about the green fair and who's the best contact.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I keep in contact with her, and another, also I have to go to the middle school. I have to go to the middle school in November, for translation again, about 5 hours, 4 hours. So, yeah, I'm getting to know administration
Right.
in a different level. It doesn't matter if he wants to do it. How do you feel about it? Do you want to make contact?
Whom?
Do you prefer to do the contact yourself?
I would like to do contact not about the green fair. I would like to do a contact regarding a cleanup and get Board of Ed aware that it would be better for the education. They don't have environmental education, by the way. They should reserve a day or half day and send kids to all parks.
Well, we got their help from the philosophy club and the
And
classics.
environmental.
Because then
Last
when you
year.
get this sponsorship with Nestle, they would prefer to have it during business hours so that they can actually claim their
Volunteer.
volunteer hours. Right?
What are you planning this for the fall?
No, well, the steam cleanups are best in spring.
Spring?
Yeah, because the vegetation is not there yet.
So you want to start
April.
start a conversation now with the Board of Ed?
Yeah.
She's your gal.
Yeah.
Talk to Maria.
Okay. So, but, whom shall we contact? Whom shall we
Why
contact?
don't you two be in contact with each other and figure this out? From subcommittees, a couple of things I have. I think it's time that we get our tree ordinance task force back together. Now
Okay.
that we know what the state's come out with, that was our pause purpose.
Right.
But I think we still want to make recommendations, and I want to reiterate what I think the mayor said to us, or someone said to us. They really don't want us to send them whole ordinances, but they
No,
want us to
bullet
send bullet
That was
points
the mayor told me.
and let the professionals write the ordinance. So I think our tree group can regroup and work on the bullet points.
Okay.
the sustainability element group that met with Mark Healy a month ago, I had promised him I'd send him Princeton's sustainability element, and I finally did that today. He's out this week. And then I also owe everybody what ANJAC can give me. So now that I'm home again, I'll reach out to ANJAC to find out what other towns other than Princeton are doing this.
Maple is one, I think.
They do a lot of things. I don't know that they have a sustainability element, but whatever ANJAC tells me, I'll follow up on.
And then Hoboken had an element as well.
Yeah.
But their problems are different from ours.
And even Maplewood is different. On the infrastructure committee, Ted and I talked a month ago about going out and doing a tree count. And so let's email and find a date. I have the map from DPW of the township-owned lots in the northeast corner of the township. And I think maybe that's that would be helpful as well, because if we can do some micro-forestation, those are places we could do it. And hopefully, if we can get ourselves an arborist, we actually could have a team leader to make some of this stuff happen. So Ted and I will try to get out there in the cool of the day, maybe early morning, and do some tree counting. That's all I have for now.
Well, but you started editing the sustainability.
And I sent that to Mark.
Did you do it? I had got about halfway through it.
I got through the whole thing, but it was only my first pass.
Right.
And I told him that I wanted to do it again, because I think it needs several passes to be
Yeah,
good.
because there's stuff in it that we don't need or have.
And I deleted those from my version, and I copied you on my email to Mark Healy.
Oh, okay.
So
that
you
one I
have
didn't
what
see.
I sent
I'll have to
out.
look at that.
Did you copy me, Robin? I don't remember seeing it. You did not.
I don't remember. I'll take a look. No, there's no, I can't get on the internet.
That's okay.
I'll make sure you have
It
it.
actually works today, the internet.
Is it? Not for me.
I'm sorry, I missed several of the things that you said you've done. I was writing down, but Army came in.
That I sent Mark Healy the sustainability element, Princeton's as is, and then a first draft of our editing that to be for Franklin.
Oh, wait, I have it. You sent it to me.
Okay. And I talked about the tree count, Ted, and I talked about the tree ordinance working group getting back together. So I think Tara's the one that's put us together for that.
Where were you in the tree ordinance?
Yeah. And so is Stephen Galuli and Mary Lauco?
Yes,
Lauto?
Mary Lauco, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Yep.
Other committees?
Good.
So Education Committee, I have follow up with Heather Fennick regarding the presentation in library. I follow up with Carrie first because Carrie was the one who didn't respond first. So there was everything booked up for July. There were a couple of available dates in August, but those didn't work to Heather. So I bounced back to advised Heather to respond back. So we are still negotiating the dates. And by the way, for some reason I thought that we are talking about presentation starting at 7, but the library doesn't like it because they have to close at 8 something. So we'll be starting at 6.
Yeah.
And because we are starting at 6, we are less likely to be in conflict with major meetings like council and board, planning board. So that will give us on our end more flexibility. But this is where we are. We did not have set the date yet.
How about doing something on the movie, An American River? Is that still in discussion?
Right, so that's this. Right now, speaking of movie, we had this repeated suggestion that we could do it together with Bellman.
Montgomery, yes.
Yes.
So,
Hillsborough, I never heard back from Montgomery. We were working on it, and then I think the person working on it has gotten very busy, so I'm just kind of waiting for her to get back to me. But yeah, she was interested, and the EC is interested, but
So can we set some dates so that we,
I'll reach out again, yeah, for sure.
For the fall, so we can have,
because we need to have 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
To get.
To be a
control.
series, you need to have 3 movies, yeah.
And we're
for sure.
already in the second half, and we have only 1 movie, so
Yeah,
we have to kind of hurry up.
okay.
And then,
I think I told you, I read the book. It's a great story.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's still alive.
So, do we have anything else for education?
no,
Kind of said that before.
because we put on the table the film, we were waiting for confirmation.
I know,
from the
yeah. I'm
environmental
sorry,
commission.
getting a hold of her has been a little difficult, but I'll get a hold of her.
Now, the Energy River Committee, so I do have update on energy aggregation that was part of the referendum last year. So there was this call for proposal there were few applicants. It was awarded to Gable Associates because they had given the best offer. And so now they are in the process of looking for a deal.
Great.
So I don't have deadlines, but things are moving. So
Awesome.
Okay. So I think that completes the committee, that's it. Is there anything in the E hot topic?
What?
Well, if
Is it true that Franklin Day is set? Somebody has said that there will be.
Yes.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
Franklin
it?
Day is set.
Let me see if I can find the day.
But what are we gonna do behind
And when is it?
It's, I don't know, 23rd, 27th, somewhere around there.
September 23rd. Last year, I believe it was a series of days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this year they're just doing the big one like they used to do.
9/23, okay. I have not received any emails or anything
Right.
from Recreation, who would normally ask us, would you, do you want a table? And so I haven't received that yet. I can definitely reach out to, it's Wendy is her name, I can reach out to her and ask, what's the situation for the tables.
It's a Saturday before your picnic.
I am not in town, so.
Well, we had the table in the past, but I can't get light bulbs anymore because they're no longer in Somerset.
well, the more efficient light bulbs last longer. So whoever got the more efficient light
But
bulbs.
nothing back again.
But
Public service came to our houses in Canal Walk and changed all the bulbs for free that hadn't been changed.
My goodness.
it's a wonderful community.
I had,
Right.
I'm sure in Somerset one as well, but.
You can even afford to put down the solar. Yeah.
You went in here to solar
We'll
cells.
keep poking.
We have a couple hundred solar cell installations in Canal Walk. Probably near to 300. Somerset one is smaller, but they've also got a significant number.
An interesting thing maybe for Franklin Day is if our anti-idling signage ordinance ever gets passed, and we had a supply of signs, we could give them to applicable landlords that day with a copy of the ordinance and say, you need to post this.
I have the banner, and it has some literature
Do
there.
you have an update?
I do, yes. I have an update on those resolutions and when you're ready for me, yeah?
Well, that comes under hot topics.
I had one more hot topic. I just
Okay.
wanted to, refresh my head. It's just good news. I have been watching spotted lanternflies since 2019. This year, we have less of them.
We don't have any yet in my house.
Well, I'm one of the times that I monitor is in my park that I was talking about.
Remember when
to
COVID
earlier,
was?
that substantially less than comparable time last year. Also, the Washington Valley Park, which is also in Somerset County, also they have less. But I found some in my garden.
You have,
And we've got some traps on some of the trees, common areas.
But so it's end of good news. I mean, regarding spotted matter.
Right, right.
So, okay.
There have been some bear sightings in the township, maybe
Yeah.
Bear and Canal Walk.
guidance on what, I seen it in the paper, what you should or should not do. And the township was very casual about it. They just said, well, they're moving through, you just stay in place, don't.
Keep the kids and the pets inside.
And all the bird feeders.
I know, my goodness.
Last
I have a large raccoon trying to get into the can, the ash can that I keep bird seed.
Yeah, oh, they love that. But I'm saying, if we have some type of guidance that might be useful to the public, maybe we can put it together and have it available on Franklin Day.
For guidance for bear, you mean? Yes, we do have some guidance for that, actually. Not Franklin Township developed, but, New Jersey Fish and Wildlife developed.
Oh,
So, yes, we
perfect.
can print some of those out, for sure.
Yeah. My goodness.
And we still have the banner. Got the banner. And there was some literature left also from the last time.
Oh, I have those, I do have giveaways from the Stop the Soot. Remember the big box I showed you?
yes.
I
and
stole
I
a bunch
returned
of
that,
those.
I returned that with whatever was left.
Oh, okay. I stole a bunch of those things, though, that we can get out. If you want.
There were no reusable bags left from the township, was there?
I think we gave them out, the last of them at
Yes,
the there.
yeah.
Okay. So,
Are you on Hot Topics now?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if this is considered a hot topic, but, and you may have discussed it before I got here, just to let you know that this came up at a council meeting, a resident brought it up at a council meeting a couple of weeks ago, and council moved very fast on it, in that they have introduced an ordinance that says no to bamboo. You can't plant bamboo in Franklin Township. And I think it also says that if you have bamboo existing on your property, it can't be within 10 feet of the property line, something to that effect. I don't know all the details of it, I don't recall them all, but it did have a first reading, I believe it was at their last meeting, that disallows the planting of bamboo. It is an invasive species.
what about if it's already growing?
If it's already growing, you have to keep it, it has to be, I believe it says, and you have to go to the ordinance, I believe it says it has to be no closer than 10 feet to the property line.
Once it passes, that'd be good for us to put out on our social media. I'll try to get the ordinance, see if I can turn it into a soundbite.
If you go to the last agenda the council had from the last meeting, you'll find it on the agenda, and you just click on it, and then it takes you to Anne Marie thing, and then on there, it shows you what the ordinance is.
There was some bamboo growing along the canal footpath.
There's bamboo all over the place.
Is the ban also applicable for farming?
Bamboo farming.
Well,
Probably up to the property line.
Yeah. if somebody-
Are you talking about farming it so that they can cultivate it for wood, to make wood floors and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's not wood, although it's grass, bamboo is
Because
grass.
it's good for sequestering carbon, so.
It's actually good for many things, but it's also when it's spreading itself out all over the place and going onto other people's properties, it's a problem.
But if it's, somebody chooses to make money by
you're cultivating it?
cultivating, is this allowed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Read the ordinance.
I'm not saying it's not, but I don't think that's addressed in the ordinance.
If it's an agricultural product and they meet the criteria for like right to farm protection, then they would be protected by that as a farm, but not as a person just growing it to,
Just for fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although we don't know any bamboo farms.
One place where I know there's bamboo that they keep trying to extirpate is DNR Canal Park's headquarters south of
Oh,
Township.
yeah.
Well, that's what I said, it's on, that's the towpath also, along the towpath, south of, this area, south of, the Manville Causeway, there's some bamboo growing.
There's also some, right where Route 1 crosses the Millstone River.
Oh, down that way, yeah, further down.
Waynesboro side.
Interesting.
I have something else that, I don't know if we consider a hot topic, but it might come under old business as requested by commissioners. I haven't made that request, so I'm making that request now. So when we get to that point, I would like to bring it up.
Okay. Well, that completes the hot topics then, I guess. Anybody else have anything? We'll move into old business. The environmental walk and the trails committee, is that you, or?
No, that's me.
That's you.
So our trails meeting got canceled, so I didn't get a chance to talk to them about it. However, I did speak to Vanessa Jones, she's the chairperson of the Trails Committee, and she's very happy and excited about partnering. So they want to pick a good place to do the Trails Walk. Now, the joint walk with the Environmental Commission, one thing that they were thinking is because we're doing the project at Neiman Williams, which is going to include some green infrastructure and the development of a woodlands trail, that maybe we could do a walk through there where we show people where the problems are that green infrastructure could solve. So we would walk people along the existing paved path, be like, show them, hey, this is a problem, this is why it's happening, and this is a way to fix it via green infrastructure, and kind of give them some information about it on the spot. I think that would be a good idea. Plus, it would help promote our project. In terms of getting into the woodlands area, I'm not sure we could do it only because it's so thick in there. Although if there is a way that we can, or at least we can get in some way, we might be able to do that too.
I did that walk with Anna.
Farewell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what time of year it was. It must have been late fall, maybe. It was beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely spectacular.
Oh.
And it was easy to maneuver.
Good,
It wasn't
okay,
difficult.
good. So if we can get through there, then we can do that, and I think that would really kind of, even the people that live in the neighborhood, kind of let them, if they want to participate, they can understand why we're doing the project. It gives good ideas to people to do at their own homes, so maybe that would be a good trails walk, is what the initial thought was, which I think is a good one.
Okay.
And maybe we try for September.
Yes, that's a non-trail.
Right, it's a trail, it's a path and potential trail walk,
Right.
yes. But I think either maybe like September or October we can do it, just so it's not so hot,
Yes.
so that's what we're thinking. So I have been speaking with her on that, and we will meet in August, so it's on the agenda for that.
Tara, just since you're talking about trails, this past Saturday, there were 2 trails walks sponsored, I believe, by the Trails Committee. One in the morning, there might have been a bird.
The birds and butterflies.
Right.
Yep.
Well, the birds was in the, birds and butterflies,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
I didn't go to that, but I did go to the one in the evening at 8 o'clock.
The firefly.
The fireflies.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was at the John Clyde Memorial Forest, Briggstown, and every time you go there, you just look at it, it's just such a beautiful grasslands area, and you look at this, you just do a panoramic view of the whole area, and it's just trees, and it's just an amazing area that you think about, that this township, saved that, and it's just,
Which one is
you
that?
could be,
It's on Canal Road, the Grasslands Preserve on Canal Road.
I think it's 1091
Yep.
Canal Road.
Yeah, it used to be called Briggstown Grasslands.
You could be in the middle of North Carolina or the Blue Ridge Mountains or whatever. It's just so beautiful there. And there's no lighting from surrounding areas that you can see that obstructs you.
It is beautiful there, yeah, it really is, yeah, I agree, that is a beautiful place, it's got a lot of acres, lots of trails, and the Trails Commission has been doing a firefly walk annually for the last 5-6 years maybe, and the last 2 years they've had it at the John Clyde Memorial Native Grasslands Preserve. Last year we were able to team up with the Astronomy Club, and because it did coincide with some type of observation event, this year there was apparently no observation event, but they are going to have another one on the 22nd, July 22nd.
So, yeah, they did talk about, Chuck Martin was there. He talked about how last year they were able to look at Saturn. Have you spoken to Chuck Martin recently?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I just spoke to him today.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's such a nice guy, and he's so good at what he does. He leads so many walks in the town, so, yeah.
It's very giving.
Oh, he is. He for sure is, so, yeah.
But he is going to be leaving us.
Yeah, moving, yeah. So, it's a shame. That's what he
He's
said, yeah.
he's moving out of town.
Out of state? Out of state?
No, in states.
I think Montclair,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, his
To be closer.
son-in-law and daughter live in
Yeah, be
Montclair.
closer to the grandchildren,
And I
yeah.
think they,
He's very sad about it, but he wants to be closer to the
Yeah.
grandchildren.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a very successful walk. So the trails the Trails Committee has had a lot of successful walks. So partnering with them on something like this, I think will be really good.
Wonderful.
And he did mention, Ted, when we were talking, I asked him if, he used to teach with, you guys both taught at Rutgers. And he said, the kids loved Ted Chase, Dr. Chase in the classes. And I said, Ted Chase that I know, what are you talking about?
listen, I will fill in something. The other day, I came out of the Franklin Park Stop and Shop onto Old Stage Road, and I stopped at the corner of South Middlebush, and there was a man standing on the corner, and he waved at me. And then he came over, so I stayed stopped, and he came over and spoke to me and said that he had been my student some time in the past, and he wanted to thank me that I had done a wonderful job.
Well, Chuck confirmed that is true.
Yes.
That wasn't Chuck that was standing out there.
No.
I do have one other thing to report. I realize it's not on the agenda, but we did plant I don't know if you talked about this?
I did not yet, nope.
In Memorial Forest, right up front, we planted a tree out there. It was a memorial tree for the mayor's mother. It was actually planted, he had a little ceremony this past Friday, and it was actually planted the previous Friday by DPW at his request. And then there was about 10 people that were there on Friday morning at 11 o'clock. Phil was there, his sister was there, and there were several people there, and he spoke, and it was a very nice little ceremony. They planted a Red October Glory, beautiful tree.
Is DPW going to water it?
That's the plan. It wasn't mulched at the time, but we assumed that they were going to mulch it, wait till they threw on the ceremony soil on top of the tree.
Just don't mulch it up too high, don't make the
Right,
mulch
well,
volcano.
we've talked to him about it. The guy that's in charge of that is Connor, who comes from DPW. We speak to him about that. And they have an alligator bed on it, and there was a little bit of water left in it. So they will be taking care of it. And there's also a sign out front from Memorial Forest there that's going to be replaced with a new sign, so you'll be able to see it coming in both directions. And I don't need to talk about Memorial Forest. There's more to talk about Memorial Forest, but there's things going on as far as moving forward with planting more trees there and fixing up the area. So
That gonna come out of the tree fund money?
the cost of the trees would come out of the tree fund. I believe would come out of the tree fund money. As far as planting, it would come, the cost of the planting the trees most likely would come out of DPW or open space money. But these are protocols that we're still working on.
You were at the meeting, the planning board meeting, where that,
Yes.
that there will be no excess trees left from the B9 because they've put more trees around.
Yeah, so originally it was $89,400 they were putting into the shade tree fund, and now they say they have severely increased the amount of trees on site.
They're still arguing as to whether trees originally planted as Christmas trees should
Right,
count.
whether that should count or not. So it's debatable as to whether they are, I mean, that's a planning board issue that's going to be discussed, and you guys on the planning board are going to make that decision as to whether they have the right amount of trees or they're going to owe something, but it appears it's not going to be the 89,400 that we thought at first.
There was some number, about 200 Christmas trees, but I don't know how many are left at this point.
Well, it's, I mean, just driving by, you see a lot of trees.
Require multiple trees to be planted. Can you tell me how the trees that have been planted along Mettler's Road and that bit of schoolhouse, how that came to happen?
That's from our association. We're doing all that. No, those trees were from the settlements with the builder. That was transition money, because the berm wasn't what it was supposed to be.
The builder,
I think it was like 165,000, and some of it went to those trees.
Yes, so to be clear, that was something that was being debated as to whether B9 was going to be planting trees in that place and trying to do that to defray the costs of trees, of money going into the Shade Tree Trust Fund. But that has, those trees had nothing to do with.
No, those are trees. And,
right.
You know, we're adjusting the sprinkler systems and all
right.
to handle it.
Yeah, that whole
and
area had its.
In 10 years, they'll be this high in the springtime.
Right.
Well, that's what they were showing. During the B9, they showed 0 plant, 1 year in 10 years, in May. There was one picture in winter. And
that was a point of contention because they were saying that, well, this is great, you're showing us what it's going to look like in the summertime, but you're not showing us what it's going to look in the wintertime when there's mostly deciduous trees and you can see the buildings.
That's,
It's a 44-foot high building.
they had 30% evergreen and 70% deciduous. And it looks like the planning board is going to push them to change that ratio. I mean, that's what I think is going to happen, but I know you can't say that you're the planning board, but that may be where they're going. Yeah. So, okay, so that takes care of hot topics. And old business, that was the environmental law. What about the local health assessment?
The report is done. So
Oh, very
it's
good.
being reviewed right now by the township manager, and then I'll be able to present it. So I'm excited. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that I'll present it. Then I'm going to a steering committee meeting, and then we'll be able to present it. So
Okay.
yes, so it's in really, really good shape. I'm excited about it, so.
And that really will give us some of the data you need for the next one.
Oh, yeah, so much data.
Sure.
It's like a data overload, it really is.
And
but
that'd be
it's
another good social post.
Yeah, for sure, yep.
You should make sure you get that in the newsletter.
I will, yeah, the next, while I get home, yep.
Are we still doing no more after Earth Day still, or has that been put away?
I haven't made the final decision, but I like the suggestion.
I came up with several slogans, and Stan and I both agreed we like the name, Save the Mow Till Earth Day.
Save the mow till I it's coincides with me, yeah.
Save the Mow Till Earth Day, if we can get the township to approve it, and then somehow we'd have to come up with signs that people want to put on their lawn, so it's understood. It looks like this because we're part of Save the Mow Till Earth Day.
Generating garbage with signs.
Yeah.
If I want to do it, I don't need to kind of tell anyone.
But if someone asks you,
I'll happily explain.
well, if you don't think we need the signs, but we need the township to approve it, right?
We would need, yeah, we definitely need that.
But approve in what way?
Because I shouldn't say approve, I should say that we need the township's zoning
Endorse it?
officer to understand that if it goes above the allowed
It will not
height,
go.
but if it does, or if they get a neighbor complaint,
Right.
that there should not be a violation issued. And that has to be understood, because we don't want someone to participate and then they get issued a
When we
violation.
communicate, we should, so that's the title, okay? But the actual communication should be that, okay, in the town we have a limit 10 inches. If it hits 10 inches before Earth Day, just mowing.
Isn't that like counterproductive though? Isn't, like, should they keep it at however high it gets until Earth Day, or no?
I think if we make it too complicated, it's going to be difficult. I think we encourage people to let their lawn grow till Earth Day.
Yeah.
With the township's blessing, because
yeah.
we know we're doing it for the
Because the
pollinators.
thing is, based on what we did this year, it's uneven. The first mowing is always, the grass is uneven. There were sections where it was 4 inches. Most of them were maybe 8 inches, something 10, and a small part was 12, you know.
And another year, it could be different, depending on the rains and the temperature.
But the original idea of May, it was just the northern areas of the country, and when I did it in '22, it didn't make any sense because the grass was growing 18 inches, and it was not actually supporting the flowers. Because the flowers, dandelions, and it's all growing at the dandelions growing before in March, April. So May for us doesn't make sense.
So I think we need to find out from Bornlocker how we go about doing this.
Yeah, okay, I had just added it to my
I wonder
list.
when we last had do people really complain about their neighbors having?
This is very rare, very rare.
But I think we want to encourage people to let them grow, so we need a campaign. So I think we need some parameters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To complain about what, Ted?
If someone lets their lawn go too much.
Oh.
I think too, it's important that people understand why.
Right.
So maybe even before that, maybe we can do a little like library event or something,
Yeah.
just to explain, this is why you're doing
I
it.
think we start in February.
Right,
Yeah.
No.
right. And this is
education.
why it ends at a certain time. It's not do this throughout the summer.
Right.
This is why this time is critical. I think that's important.
But another thing you might tie in with this is that if there's a conservation easement on a piece of property, then they're not to mow it at all.
The township people,
Yeah,
right?
Those, we've had cases of this, I think, on People's Line Road, of part of a lot having a conservation easement on it, and they mowed it anyway.
Yeah.
But there was also further back, I think it was on Crispino Lane, somebody complained about a neighbor having overly long grass, and the neighbor was able to show that there was a conservation easement forbidding that from being mowed.
Yeah.
So it comes up.
Okay, then the only other thing left on the agenda is any other
Yeah,
old
a
business.
couple things. Tell us about the anti-idling ordinance.
Oh, yes, I have updates on the anti-aliasing ordinance and the 2 resolutions that you have. So the resolution for the green amendment is going to be put on the August agenda.
Cool.
So that one's going forward
Just for town council.
for the council, so it'll be on the August agenda. The support of the lower Raritan watershed. That one, there is the question about the clause about having to, let me bring it up and show you what it says specifically. It says that as a municipal member, we would notify them of any development application that could potentially impact the lower Raritan watershed. I believe that's the,
It's possible.
yeah, further be it resolved that the Franklin Township Environmental Commission supports the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership by recommending it for municipal membership, meaning that it will be notified of land use matters that affect the Lower Raritan watershed, including land development applications under review by the Planning Board and/or Zoning Board of Adjustment. So besides this clause, it could go to the council, right? Now, the reason this clause is a potential issue, and I think we discussed this when it came here for us, there's 2 things. The first thing is that there's certain entities that as a matter of right must be notified under the municipal land use law. So like Somerset County, the DNR Canal Commission. The Lower Raritan is a nonprofit and not one of those of right members. So they're not going to be notified by the planning board or zoning board. That's not going to happen. We could notify the Lower Raritan, maybe the EC. We could absolutely do that. we can't though send them like a whole set of plans, because we're not asking for, so it would be our job
Yes.
to send them an email basically saying, this has come to our board.
Right, you can access it on the website.
But we would be the ones doing that. So if we want to keep that clause in, we would have to modify the language just to demonstrate that it's the EC that would be making a notification out of courtesy,
Right,
not
so-
a,
How about we say meaning
right.
that it, and the word "it" is a little confusing to me. So the third line, see where the comma is,
Yeah.
municipal membership, comma, meaning that the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership will be notified by the Franklin Township Environmental Commission.
Now, why did they land use? There's two lands there.
Yeah, I,
And I define
That's
land
just a
use
typo, I
matters
think.
that
Will
are
be
made
notified by
You just fixed it.
Franklin Township Environmental Commission.
on matters.
on land use matters that affect, blah, blah, including land develop, I think we should just leave it, including land that affect the Lower Raritan Partnership. Do you want me to keep this in or take it out?
I think that's enough, we don't need that in there, because I think it's something they could object to.
I think that's the part that's made, I think that the planning board and the zoning board can't notify them as part of their routing list,
Right.
because it's, it's not a requirement.
Right, yeah, I think that's good.
So what you mean is that when we get a plan, we notify
Yes.
the Raritan.
We put it on our green checklist, so it's a standard thing that we look at every time.
That's the way it
That'll
catches.
remind it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, should I also say recommending it for municipal membership? Is that a specific definition, do you know, from Lower Raritan? Like, is that like a membership type?
the draft.
So I wonder if it's,
Why don't you go on their website, do you
Yeah.
have a membership category, and what are the obligations?
all right,
Partnership, membership.
do you see one that, did I miss it? Did it say membership?
No,
What about partnership?
I don't see that either.
I see donate, I see volunteer.
Yeah, go across, just in case.
Resources partners.
Maybe partners?
Partners, I'm thinking about partnership.
Yeah.
Partners. Partners. Who are the partners?
Community groups, schools.
Code of arts.
People.
Green thing.
Municipalities, commission, so I wonder if it's
Yeah, with
that.
partners.
So they have.
So they do it by the EC.
New
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be listing the planning board or the township, we'd be listing
It would be a
EC.
DEC, so okay. So it would be,
Partners.
supports by recommending it, meaning the Franklin Township Environmental Commission,
Right.
it for municipal partnership.
Yeah,
Okay,
instead of
meaning that,
membership. So you were going to replace membership.
okay,
So it's EEC that will be the member, not the municipality.
Right.
right. I wonder if I should
We'll be
reword
what?
that.
Why don't we say municipal partnership instead of membership?
That's what I thought, that she was going to replace membership or partnership.
Okay.
Is there any money involved in this?
No, I don't think so, no.
I
So
think our
Franklin
contribution
Township-
is doing the cleanups.
Yeah, Franklin Township Environmental Commission supports the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership by recommending it for municipal partnership, meaning that the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership will be notified by the Franklin Township Environmental Commission on land use matters that affect the Lower Raritan watershed.
So that'll be-
Okay,
that's-
so then that can go on the August agenda.
And if it's in the
Can we,
checklist.
but I do need a new, I'm gonna redate this, July 10th, and we're gonna need another motion to pass and,
I moved,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous.
Now, before we move on,
the ordinance, go ahead.
before we go to the ordinance, whatever happened to our resolution regarding fossil fuels that we sent to the council? Did they ever?
Was it the divestment or
Yes.
whatever? That was passed, I believe, a while ago.
It was passed.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I thought it was listed.
Can we make sure that that's listed on our website as one of our resolutions?
I thought it was too, okay, I'll double
I
check
can't get
it.
on right now.
Okay, yeah, but that was passed.
This
Right.
morning, 2000.
Marie, did you give, by the way, did you give a resume to Tara? Because on our website, your little paragraph
That's
is
what I
not there.
said, that's what I said at that time. I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm going to
Well,
make,
yeah,
but that's small.
It just has your name. It just needs something.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows who you are. I do, because I haven't looked it up.
Okay. Nice one, Bob.
Okay.
Like this morning, I remember about emailing
Right.
Jessica.
Okay, so then that can go to the council, so that's good.
Great.
Now that we've done that. Okay.
The ordinance.
Yes, let me just write this here. I'm just making an email so that I can send it. Okay, there we go. Because I can't remember like.
Yes.
The anti-idling ordinance. So I spoke to Bob again about it today. So we're still at the anti-idling.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yep. We're still at the thought, I guess I should say, the attorneys, that reiterating the state's language in any way is not a good thing to do. If the ordinance ever gets changed,
I thought we already understood that, we agreed to that.
we did. So, moving forward, the changes to the ordinance would either be in the sign ordinance, changes to the land development ordinance, which we would do the same thing, submit a list of bullet points, like to Bob,
Right.
and he can get it for changes to sections of the land development ordinance that apply to anti-idling, so specifically the sign ordinance. That would be
So,
one, for example.
didn't we say, go ahead and create just a sign ordinance? Did they, have they?
Well, no, we haven't submitted any bullet points to them yet. We've only submitted the full ordinance, right? So I think we need to go through and figure out exactly what changes, right, or no?
So there is already a sign.
Oh, there's an existing sign ordinance.
So you're saying,
we wouldn't
saying
say
that
no.
the ordinance that we developed,
Yeah.
that is basically, wherever we can, we cite the state regulation.
Yeah.
And then where we want to change things, or we want to add things because we can make it more strict, those are the things that we've added. But you're saying they're not accepting that, they want to have bullet points of something that are gonna go, that would go into the land use ordinance.
Yes, so it would be basically amending, like the way we're amending the tree ordinance, it would be amending specific sections of the land development ordinance to address anti-idling. So one specific section is the sign ordinance, but we can go through and see if there's other places that can be input. But the sign ordinance, for example, is like a prime place.
So all that work we did, Arnie did a year ago, nothing is coming to pass with that. We have to redo another list.
Well, we can take a lot of that,
Yeah.
probably introduce it into the land use
Right.
ordinance. If you give us that land use ordinance, I'm sure I'll be able to put
Yeah.
a lot of that into
Yes.
the land use ordinance.
So for example, all of the work done about where priority areas for
Right.
signage, all of our lists could just go
Right.
into the,
Right.
like that, so we're not rewriting
So
anything.
they're
but we-
waiting for that from us.
Yeah, so what we could do is I could go through the ordinance and put together a list and try to compare it to the sections of the land development ordinance that make sense,
And map it.
and then present it that way,
Okay.
if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, and just help me, because I think about this when I'm parking my car. Are office buildings and like medical office buildings, are those signs required there? We talk about stores and we talk about warehouses, but,
Or commercial.
yeah, plain old office buildings, are they in there?
I believe with the ordinance, the way we have presented it at this time is any new facilities that are built will be required to install those anti-idling signs. The existing facilities, it will be encouraged that they install those signs. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Tara?
Yes, you're correct on
Okay,
that.
so they will be encouraged to put up those signs, and the encouragement is that if you put up the signs and somebody is found idling on your property, if you don't put up the signs and somebody is found idling on your property and they are, hit with a violation, the property owner can also
So-
get hit with a
That would-
will also get hit with a violation. However, if they do install the signs,
I understand that.
then
They can't be hit.
they will not be hit because they install the
My
signs.
question is, if I'm at a doctor's office right now in Franklin and somebody is idling for 3 minutes, and there is no sign, both the idler and the landlord are responsible, even though it's an existing building.
No, yeah,
Yes.
they can still get hit with a violation, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It doesn't need to be a
Yeah.
sign.
Right.
So we can definitely take what we have, basically we just have to figure out where exactly it should go best. So I can work on that if you want and send it to you and see what you think. I just have to kind of go through the land development ordinance and make sure it's in all the correct places. That's really
I just don't want us to lose track of it, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least we know that they looked at it.
Yes, yes. Well, because we sent the original copy, then we reduced it and, only cited the state, didn't reiterate the state's language.
But here's the thing, they asked us to reduce it to exactly the way we did it.
And now they changed
And
their
when
mind
we
again.
did it, they changed the rules of the game again, and now they're saying, well, yeah, you did it the way we wanted you to, but now we want you to do it differently, so it's in the land use ordinance.
Right.
So,
I think when the attorneys looked at it, I think even with it being reduced, it was still very reflective of an existing state law that it could potentially change, making our ordinance outdated. So even with the reduction, I guess that was still
Well,
questionable.
what they would do is simply make reference to the state law.
Right,
And
right.
therefore, if the state law changes.
It changes automatically.
that's exactly what we did.
And we did,
Everywhere
yeah.
in the ordinance that we submitted, it referenced the state regulations, so that if the regulation changed, then our ordinance would change with it. The only thing we did was we basically added we put in places where these signs should be installed, and it was all new stuff that was pertinent to Franklin Township. So, but we did exactly what they asked us to do, but now they're changing their tune, so we gotta change it again.
All right, so I'll work on that then ahead of the next meeting.
Next meeting is
When
on
is the next meeting?
The 26th, I think it
No, it
is.
should be 14 days from today.
Yeah, 24.
24.
Oh, 24th, wow.
Right?
I will,
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I said 26th. Yeah, 24th.
Not be here, because I'll be out of country, so.
as will I.
Finland?
Yes.
Really?
I'll be in Czech Republic.
I just came back from Poland.
My daughter's there, one of the daughters is gonna be there end of the week.
Finland?
No, Poland,
Oh,
and, they'll do Poland, Germany, Czechoslovakia, 3 or 4 countries. I know 3 for sure in that area, for 8 or 10 days. So, we're on the agenda, except now would be to open the motion. No one doesn't know.
Yeah, there was, so, you have other old businesses requested by commissioners?
Yes.
Which I mentioned about 10 minutes ago, and I said I hadn't requested it, but I'm requesting it now.
Oh, okay.
So, here I go. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I read the minutes. I'm not happy with something that happened at the last meeting. It says, a time limit of 3 minutes, each person to speak only once in public session, the first session being to put ideas before the commission, the second to comment on commission actions taken during the meeting. I find this 3 minutes is, to me, I would have voted against this. I know it was unanimous, everybody voted for it. But 3 minutes, I mean, I think, we don't get a lot of people here when they can be, this is we're here for the people. 3 minutes is a small amount of time. And I just think it's unfriendly to say 3 minutes. It's confining. The council has a lot more people come to their meetings, and they allow 5 minutes. And if that means that they're going to be there till 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, so be it. But again, we don't get that many people, so I'm just not, I'm just sort of venting here when I see this.
I think you're not out of line, or I think that we could amend the motion if you wanted to put through an amendment or a change to it, and we vote on it here, we have a quorum. If you want to change the 3 minutes to 5 minutes,
I would like to do that, but people, I don't know if that was brought up at the last meeting. The other, before I do that, I just have a question. It says, people are allowed to talk one time. I'm going to assume, and I hate to assume, that means that they are allowed to talk in the first public session, but again in the second public session, not just once, but in both.
First
okay?
session.
But also, it says in here that people are confined to what they can talk about in the first section, and then what they're confined to talk about in the second section, in the second open public session. And I don't see why people should be confined to, let me just see what it says here.
I think it was expressing a purpose.
Well, the first section being put to,
Truly restricted.
it says the first section being to put, for the public to put ideas before the commission, the second to comment on commission actions during the meeting.
Right.
So what if after listening to the meeting, they then have more ideas to put before the commission? They're saying, well, you can't do that because you should have done that in the first public
Arnie,
session.
I gotta be in support of that, because I don't want to be here until 11 o'clock.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but we were put in these positions, and you don't have to be here. If you have to leave early, we don't need a quorum for when the public is talking.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, because we're not making decisions. And I understand there are people, I'm retired, so I can stay. But there are people that I understand, you have to leave early, some people do, but I think this is for the people, and they should have their say. So, I will make a motion that I think it should be extended to 5 minutes for each person to speak, and that they should be able to speak about whatever they want in either in the first section and the second section, second session.
Is there a second?
That's my whole motion.
Stan, did you second it?
No, I would prefer, I know that maybe it's different procedure, but I would rather go with just 5 minutes.
Well, I can, no, well, I will, let's just go with what I just did. And if nobody does it, I will then amend my motion. And-
Okay.
Okay? So, if, I'm waiting for a second on that, on 5 minutes, plus you can speak about whatever you want in either
I'll do
section.
the second, so that we can get that,
Okay.
and then we'll modify it.
Okay.
Okay, so second.
Is there any discussion on that?
All the discussion is to drop,
Yeah, what?
the discussion is to drop the second part, if this is the procedure.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of this motion, as it's stated? 2, 3. Okay, it fails.
I see you with two hands, I see you with two hands up.
No, hands are here. It fails.
Okay.
Now make the new motion.
Unfriendly, but okay. I will make the second motion. I will make another motion saying that we change it from 3 minutes to 5 minutes.
I'll support that.
I'll support that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess I'll support it.
You're the one. I'm really supporting your motion.
It's just that, you know, this whole proposal came with Jessica being here. I think if you would like to open it
We get that.
with Jessica,
That's it.
again, which will not give you extra voice, but it will
I
be
mean, she
discussion.
probably would have voted down because she was the one that brought this to
She brought it
the
up.
meeting. Yeah, I
You raised valid point. If Township Council has 5 minutes, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's my logic. As stated, the town, which states it also. The town council has 5 minutes. We shouldn't be any tighter than that.
5 minutes is fine, I think, yeah, I'm not voting, obviously, I'm just saying 5 minutes seems customary.
Yeah. And it is customary to have before and after. That was the other thing, that she wanted just to have one of them. And we said, no, it's...
Right, I saw that
We
also.
created before and after. That didn't exist. When I first joined
You're
this
right.
commission, it was only once on the agenda. We
But other
added
commissions-
that.
other
You're
commissions
absolutely
have
right,
before
that
and
we
after.
did, but other commissions and committees do it before
They do,
and
they
after.
do. I mean, it's just at the Human Relations Commission, and they had, I just gave my half hour, but they had also beginning and end.
Mhm.
So, that being finished, the motion to open to public discussion.
We don't need to keep up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, moving
Yeah.
forward, I'm sorry, can I just ask one thing, just so I'm clear? Am I putting the timer on? Am I doing that? I just want to be, because I want everyone to know that I'm not like putting the timer on and then being like, so I'm putting this timer on, right?
The township has a big clock.
No. Hold on, okay. And I still have Rocky on there, so I can't remember to get rid of it. Go ahead.
Okay.
So I was here last week when this all went on, and even the gentleman in the back there said we didn't even have to have a public speech because of the money.
I was wrong.
I know, he was wrong, but I'm saying it was just, I was amazed at the non-response of giving the public. And in your stuff, you're welcome here to your environmental commission. It says we welcome residents to share in our discussions. And so if you don't want this, yes, then you've got to get rid of your rules and regulations of your environmental. I was just like flabbergasted because I was even told not to ask a question, that I should put it in emails to you guys. And I did do that, and I put my email, and I didn't receive a response, and I don't know if I didn't do it right, but I got a response here from you guys, from this contract form or something, and I never got a response. But I did put my question forward to you. So now, can I ask questions, or is this not going to be?
You can ask the question.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to say. And I don't have to speak much, so I was just flabbergasted last week of all the conversation that was going on.
Eleanor, if you send an email, it won't get a response until we've had a chance to meet and hear the email. So if you're hoping for a response between meetings, there is no person who's authorized to speak on our behalf.
So that's why you're...
Yes, Jessica, the person who receives them brings them to the meeting, and then we discuss them here.
But did you receive my email?
No,
go to Jessica.
It goes to
Oh,
Jessica.
to Jessica.
But if you have an email, like if you have a question that you need answered and it's something I can help you with, you're absolutely allowed to, you can email me directly.
Yeah,
and
but now if I
can't-
can ask the questions during the meeting, we will
Yeah.
do it.
So I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I don't see, I can only say, I wasn't here, and you were here, and I did not see anything in the minutes about someone saying that no one was allowed to answer questions. So I wasn't here, I can only go by what I read. But, yeah, there's never any, I don't think any ban on, I can't imagine that was a thing, that there was a ban on questions, but.
I do.
I think what Jessica maybe meant that as an alternative to in-person coming, you can also send email.
That's not what I was...
I think maybe what we remember, maybe we mentioned the fact that at council meetings, council is discouraged from directly answering questions from the audience because then it gets into a back and forth discussion.
Takes time.
We have this habit.
I think we should be more flexible than the council.
I
Again,
agree.
because we usually don't have as many people as the council.
What did we do?
And we're not setting township policy here.
No.
And the council is setting township policy. So for them to start answering questions about things that could go to policy, it gets them in trouble if they answer questions right then and there without having discussed it with the attorneys or amongst themselves.
Because the manager never feels restrained from answering questions. Unless there's an explicit
That's all
rule.
the story. Yes.
I have a question. Do you want suggestions for you to consider?
Yes.
Or do you want them posed as a question? Because number one, I will tell you, I've gone to the Amish market for years, and they've never refused to put my goods in my own bags, which have been reusable for years, and they're now starting to offer them to customers, but as any place else, you have to buy them. Number two, this problem with littering is not only Inman Park. when will the township, and maybe you can recommend, like other municipalities, they put in recycling cans at fast food places and in parks. So like we get our recyclables picked up, which seem to be left behind a lot in Inman Park, the truck will go through twice a month and pick them up from Somerset County. That's a good suggestion because we want to preserve and recycle as much as we can. And the same is with garbage. Maybe it's time to go with a recycling garbage can like people have at home where you put it in, there's a lid on it so wild animals can't get in and help themselves. Yes?
Thank you. Could you please do us also a favor, go to Board of Ed meeting and tell them that they should have recycled bins in schools.
I am going to tell them tomorrow night, don't you worry.
Because these kids have absolutely no training, no idea about
No, they
the
don't.
proper recycling, because then what happens, the same garbage that will be in garbage can and recycling will be the same stuff.
I know. They go down Lake Avenue, and the first thing you hear is clunk, clunk, clunk. Here comes some bottles on your yard. Here comes some garbage from Wendy's, Burger King, I don't know whatever else is on 27, and you end up picking it up.
Stan,
Yes.
I remember this when the school was coming up a while ago, and the students pressed for having recycled containers. And so they did. And then students reported that the janitors were taking the garbage containers and the recycling containers and dumping all of the contents into the same waste bin.
So if,
That's why they don't have the recycling.
so that they, if they identify the problem, they should resolve the problem, not to surrender on,
Teach them in school.
I mean,
If the
why
parents have to
is
teach
the
them,
janitor,
let's
I don't
have
know,
recycling
provide
places in
training?
school.
You guys,
Finally, one more, you have on here local health assessment.
Before you go into that one more, I just have one comment on it. It sounds like it's not only the students that have the issue, it's the maintenance people at the schools who are then taking garbage and recycling and then just dumping it all into one container, and then garbage comes and
I
picks it
think
all
the
up.
kids are learning fast if you teach them what a recycling can is for and what a garbage can is for. And my last suggestion, you have a local health assessment and action plan. Perhaps it's time to work with the local schools, Rutgers University, the council, and get somebody in health care in school to work with Sisters, Robert Wood Johnson, St. Peter's, even St. Barnabas, Robert Wood Johnson, whatever they're called in Somerset, which is close, and find out why you have such a high cancer rate in certain parts of Franklin. And I'm telling you why. I have a husband who came down during the molecular era, and believe me, I fought them left and right in council. Came down with a rare lymphoma and now has skin cancers. I have two daughters who are going to school, living at home, who both have breast cancer, and it's not hereditary at all. And I think when you would start looking at the number of people who died on Hill, Spring, Lake, Coon, in these certain cluster areas, you would be shocked at what you're going to find. And it could be done as a project for a Rutgers student who's coming out, going into a healthcare field. They would do it, and with the support of, as I said, the hospitals and Sisters, I'm sure they could come up with a lot of data.
One thing I can forward you to, so our local health assessment looks at life expectancy rates, it also looks at chronic diseases in different census tracts
Right.
of Franklin Township. So that data will be in there, not specifically those to all types of cancer. However, if you go to the Somerset County Health Department website, is it Somerset? Yes.
I work with the health department there, I'm not too sure about them anymore.
It might not be, it's not the health department, what's the, you guys know, it's like the partnership, it's Somerset County, Robert Wood, it's called, I'll find it for you. But they've developed, it's called the Somerset County Health Improvement Program and the Somerset County Health Needs Assessment. Those two reports, I think were just updated in 2021. They actually look at all different types of cancer, and breast cancer is one specifically, and they look by town. So there is data in that. If you'd like, I can send you the link to that, if you give me your email when we leave.
I don't use the computer, you'll have to talk to my husband.
Okay, I can send it to
I
you.
gave them up when I left the hospital because
Okay.
I don't trust them.
I'll send it to you if you want, just if you wrote your email down there, I can send it to you. It has data on that
Okay.
by types of cancers, types of chronic diseases. I don't know if it looks at that hyper level, but it might, so.
Does it look at clusters?
It does look at clusters in Somerset County, so at least that's a starting point.
Okay,
You
that's a
know.
good one, but I would recommend that if you
Yeah.
have a student
Yeah.
who needs a project, it would be an excellent project, having worked with nursing students at Farley Dickinson and Rutgers University and schools in Ohio, that might help the township start seeing things differently
Right.
when it comes to the environment.
For sure, yep, I understand what you're saying completely, yep. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Healthier Somerset, that's the name of it. I couldn't remember, Healthier Somerset.
Healthier Somerset?
Yes, Healthier Somerset. It's basically a coalition of Robert Wood Johnson, Somerset County Health Department, and all the towns, individual towns.
I don't have a pencil. I forgot to bring one. Here, write it down. Healthy Somerset.
Healthier Somerset.
Healthier Somerset.
Healthier Somerset.
And if they ban the burn, it'll even become healthier because you'll have less asthma, respiratory problems, children with problems. And my concern, having worked with a lot of children and newborns and infants, is this cancer rate in children is skyrocketing.
Yep. On the screen, I know it's hard to see, but this is, just so you know, this is the Somerset County. If you just Google or look for Community Health Needs Assessment,
Okay?
you'll come to this page, and the good thing is they have the updated one for 2021, but they also have the back reports, so you could see the changes if you want as well, so.
Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, ask for a motion to close public comment.
We're gonna be closed.
All in favor? Maria, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Oh, yes, it was summarized about the report. The report, the health report is going to show longevity, it shows longevity in the town, right?
Life expectancy rates, yep.
Does it show it by ward or by?
We have it by census tract, but what we've done is we've grouped them by ward, so it's easier for people to kind of see in terms of where they live. So, but we do have it by both, so, yeah.
Because what happened is, I can share that later after the meeting.
Okay, perfect, yep.
Then I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'm going to be closed, meeting.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Next meeting is the 24th.